I've been getting messages over the past hour, so many people talking about this R. Kelly interview.
Good.
It was his first interview since he was jailed last month, and R. Kelly says the charges of aggravated criminal sexual abuse are all lies. The singer spoke with Gayle for nearly 80 minutes yesterday. He strongly denied having sex with underage girls or doing anything illegal.
And Bianna, he wants people to talk about it. In this interview that you'll see only here on CBS This Morning, we also asked Kelly about his rough childhood and his story or surviving years of sexual abuse. He also discussed how the allegations against him could affect his personal life and his career. Do you still expect people to buy your music? How do you think your music should sit with people?
Absolutely, I think they should, although a lot of them may not. But like I said, I'm really not fighting for my career here. I'm fighting for my rights, and I'm fighting to have a relationship with my kids most of all, more than anything. I want a relationship with my kids because I've missed a lot of years of their life. They love me. I love them.
And they want a relationship with you,
I bet you they do.
Yeah.
I bet my breath on it, you know. But they're pressured, and I get it. They're pressured, so I get it. But I believe that's going to change in due time.
You have daughters. If your daughters called you and said that somebody is doing to them what the allegations are about you, would you be okay with that?
Let me tell you something. I'll be up in that mother everything up. I had to bleep myself, but I would be everything
If your daughters
up.
came to you and said, look, this guy is doing to me what the allegations are against you.
Then I would have to arrest myself after I did what I had to do.
You've been very candid that you are a sexual abuse survivor yourself. You've talked very candidly that you were molested from the ages of 7 to 13, 14. How do you think that has affected you?
It hasn't affected me at all. I mean, it has affected me in a way, though. Yeah. It affected me in this way. Anything that I've been through, that or any struggles I've had in my past, has affected my music. It has, Has
it affected your behavior?
Absolutely not. Because I'm going to tell you something, I know people think, oh, well, he was abused.
Exactly.
Well, that's why he's doing that. No.
No, the experts will tell you this. Most people who are abusers have been abused, but not all people that have been abused go out and abuse others.
Okay.
And so that's why I asked the question.
That's what the experts said?
That is what the experts said.
But they didn't say all, did they?
No, they didn't. No,
all right.
No.
Here I stand.
So that's why I'm asking
I'm in the
you.
not all. I'm in the not all, okay? But they also didn't say when you're R.Kelly, okay, and you're famous and your name is ringing 25 million times a day all over the world, okay, of people trying to get money from you, okay, and they're using your past. They're using the past allegations, the past case that he beat to link it on to that, okay? They're using that.
When you say that you need help, do you think you need to go to therapy? Have you been to therapy?
Absolutely. At this point, I'm definitely talking about that.
About going?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It seems like, some could say you might seem out of touch to a lot of people.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, your perception of the charges against you. I know it's your side and it's your story, but you have a different perception that most of the world has about you.
No, I have a truth. People have perception.
People have their perception.
I have truth.
Do you think you're invincible?
Oh, absolutely not. I just think I'm human.
Well, Jerika Duncan joins us at the table. You've covered these allegations and the stories against him. You've talked to some of the victims and their families.
Correct.
How do you think this interview is going to resonate in the court of public opinion?
In the court,
he's very adamant about his position.
And I think the fact that, first of all, great job to you and the crew that were able to book this interview, because I don't think anybody expected to hear from R. Kelly.
I didn't expect to hear from R. Kelly.
You have a man of that magnitude, celebrity, deciding to sit down while he's actually facing felony charges that could land him in prison for up to 70 years, and he decided to give his side. Of course, we did want to hear it, but I think when you look at social media and on Twitter, he doesn't have a lot of support. I think there are people who will say, oh, this is what I'm saying, the girls were lying or what have you, but by and large, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is not a lot of people have sympathy for him. And even from some of the victims,
what about
the alleged
women?
victims, Geronda Pace, she was featured in that docuseries and said that she met R. Kelly after he was acquitted and then started a sexual relationship with him when she was 16 years old. So she said on Twitter, I did not see R. Kelly. I didn't see my abuser. What I saw was a man that needs help. When you've been doing wrong for decades, she said, and the people around you make you feel that your actions are right, you tend to believe that you're doing no wrong. And then we also got a statement from Sparkle. Sparkle is the artist that R.Kelly used to work with. She was also featured in the docuseries. She plays a bigger role in this huge narrative because she was one of the first to speak out. She's the one that identified her niece as the one in that first video where he was charged with child pornography.
Because her niece was 13, 14 at the time.
Correct.
Right?
And she said this was the niece. Of course, he was acquitted. She didn't say it was her. The parents didn't say it was her. But Sparkle said the interview is continued display of Robert's entertain at all costs mentality. She said, with arrogance and a lack of accountability, I'm praying for their safe return back to their families in reference to the girls.
I agree with what Geronda said. I think he needs help. I think that as we were sitting there, I felt that he became very emotional several times. That wasn't just, you've seen some of the outbursts, but he became very, very emotional many, many times during the interview. And I actually think that he needs help. I thought in some ways we were seeing a breakdown right before our eyes. He composed himself and came back because he does want people to hear him. But he does think the world is out to get him and everybody is lying. And that's just, and I said after a while, Robert, how can everybody be lying except you? What makes you either so special or what makes you so unlikable that all these women would come out against you?
And let's remind everybody just how many women have accused him of abuse and misconduct.
Well, there were 7 in that docuseries, but there were about 50 people in total who talked about things that they may have seen, not necessarily abused by him, but there was a young lady who said she claimed she saw him having sex with Aaliyah. He didn't talk about that. Aaliyah, the artist who he allegedly married when she was 15 years old and later passed away. But it was fascinating. That was a remarkable interview. And again, I think everyone is just so shocked that it went on for so long. I mean, if you look at prior interviews where he's left, when it goes too deep, he gets up and he leaves. But you were able to keep him in that chair, and he did compose himself, and he continued to talk.
Because he said, I've been silent for too long while people are saying all these things about me. I want people to hear from my own mouth.
Right.
And in the end, he said, thank you for giving me the platform to say this. We even asked, do you want to take a break? Do you want some tissue? No, leave me alone. Just let me talk. And that is what we did.
Well, of course, we'll be waiting to see what happens as this goes to trial, potentially, because that is the opinion that matters the most.
Exactly. It's not just social media.
Who will decide whether or not there's enough evidence to.
The thing that got to him the most, though, Jerika, was his relationship with his own children.
He
became most emotional when he kept talking about, I want to see my children. I want to have a relationship with my children. There are clearly issues with R.Kelly and his ex-wife, Andrea, which he says he has the utmost respect for her because she is the mother of his children. But that's what got to him the most, talking about his own children.
And it's worth noting we likely wouldn't even be here having this discussion if it wasn't for that docuseries we've been covering over the past few months.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true. Thank you, Jerika.